ANC is back in the driving seat in Johannesburg. That's after Democratic Alliance Mayor Mpho Phalatse was voted out. Will the DA go to court today to challenge what happened in the Johannesburg Council on Friday? Well, we're still not sure. ActionSA, though, will hold a press briefing to address the council matters. Reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones is following the story and joins us yet again. Pule, when we spoke a bit earlier, we were still unsure as to whether the Democratic Alliance will be challenging this. What is the latest now coming from at least the media room of the Democratic Alliance?
Yeah, definitely. What we understand is that this morning, ActionSA's leader, Michael Bowman, will be having a media briefing, just detailing and explaining what are some of the reasons why they were not in agreement with the DA. You'd remember just on Friday, DA leader John Steenhuisen was saying that they will be taking legal action against what unfolded during Friday's council sitting, in which we saw the Johannesburg regional chair, Dada Morero, being elected unopposed as the Johannesburg mayor. He was also slammed ActionSA for not being very supportive and respectful of the coalition formation policies. And this is the reason why ActionSA believes they want to tell their side of the story, because they believe they've been quite, honorable of the policies, and they also believe that they've been in support of the DA for a very long time. However, they're of the view that the DA had fumbled the bag by not listening to the other parties within that multi-party coalition government as well, such as the Patriotic Alliance, such as IFP.
So, insofar as the ActionSA is concerned, if today we're going to hear of them clarifying at least the events that took place leading up to perhaps the removal of the speaker and then the installation of the new mayor, or do we purely expect them to discuss just that, or we could possibly hear of them actually removing themselves from the coalition agreement now and just going it alone?
Quite fairly, they've been quite upset as to how the DA handled this whole situation, although we do understand that Herbert Mashaba from ActionSA has been quite adamant that they will not be voting in support of the ANC whatsoever in any kind of agreement that would be in relation to politics as well. But today it will be surprising to hear what we found. In fact, I'm going to read to you one of the tweets in which Michael Bowman had tweeted just on Saturday. He said, the DA could have rescued the situation, I would say, quite easily, but just labeling a different candidate from different party and the outcome might have been different. So it looks almost as if the situation was intentionally created. You'd remember the agreement was that ActionSA, the DA and other parties within that formation would vote for a candidate of the IFP as the speaker. But the DA went on to refuse for that agreement and went on to field Alex Christians as their candidate. And therefore, this is one of the reasons why things didn't go in their favor.
Listening to all of this, one then wonders if we don't want to hear from the Democratic Alliance as opposed to ActionSA, because if anything if we are to take what is being said, at least over the weekend by Michael, then we understand where they stand on this matter, that according to them, it was the lack of maturity on the part of the Democratic Alliance, as they say, because they don't want to share positions. But really, then the important person to hear from now, or the organization, would be the Democratic Alliance, if perhaps they want to refute some of these allegations, that they were willing to share some of the power or not. Are they perhaps planning to have some sort of a briefing as well beyond ActionSA's briefing?
Well, for now, we don't know about the briefing that they will be, convening, or if they will be calling for any sort of presser. In the morning, when I tried to speak to some of the communicators, I understood that they were in a meeting with a DA leader, Helen Ziller, as well, in terms of how will they be paving the way forward if they would be going to court to actually now try and nullify the whole process of what happened during council on Friday, where the newly elected mayor was put into position, or what do they do next? However, what we also understand is that they may now be wanting to go back to the drawing board and see as to whether they can rescue this coalition multi-party government. But the only way to do so, they need to go back and speak to the Patriotic Alliance, because they have lost about 8 seats in the Johannesburg Council, which have now been transferred to the ANC, which of course is the PA in support of the opposition parties. And even if they were to go to court and nullify that whole outcome of the Johannesburg Council, they'd still need numbers, because they're outnumbered right now.
But is PA willing? Would PA be in a position to be persuaded, or now they've nailed their colours to the mast, they're sticking with the ANC? What do you understand on the ground about their position?
No, definitely not. When I spoke to Kenny Kunene on Saturday during a phone call, just to find out as to how they were willing to pave the way forward, he was adamant that they're not going back. He said that, or rather labelled the DA as being arrogant and not being willing to listen. And therefore he said, we're not going back. We've come to support the ANC and cope Al Jama'ah, other parties, and we believe this is the way forward. We believe that this should be about sharing power, and that Troika should be about different parties being involved as well, not only one party pushing forward with their leadership, and that's where they stand right now. But obviously, there's all these talks happening in the background, so we don't know if whether the DA has been in contact with them to say, are they going to fix this relationship? Because right now it's looking quite bad for the DA as well.
But it's honestly quite unfortunate that we're having conversations around power sharing when we should be having conversations around service delivery. So does this power sharing arrangement actually translate to services on the ground? Was there a conversation around servicing the people of Johannesburg that was pushed even more than just the power that is being attained?
The whole of last week was just about trying to get positions and see who can be a mayor. So that's 1 week gone already. The year's almost over. Many residents are still complaining to say service delivery hasn't been, delivered in their communities. You speak about Soweto residents who have been also complaining about not having access to electricity, continuous unplanned blackouts that have been going on for quite some time. You go to Eldorado Park, there's an issue of crime that's infested in that community as well. In the community of Bosmont, they're complaining about Zamazamas who are terrorizing that area as well, and there's no police visibility. These are just some of the things that speak to service delivery. But when we listen to Dada Morero coming in, he says he's got a solution for the energy crisis as well. He says that
is he maybe going to take the plan that Mpho Phalatse was already putting together? Because that's the other problem of this interrupted service delivery, where somebody constructs a plan and then they're taken out, and then a new person must now start to construct a plan.
No, they're saying that they're going to be continuing with plans from 2016 that they believe are still relevant even now. However, they're still willing to work with other parties, including the DA. And that's according to Mayor Tata Morero. But obviously saying they're also trying to make sure the city has a financial health status as well. Maybe let's just take a listen to what he had to say in regards to that.
The ANC is presenting one. The critical issue is the matter around load shedding and how do we intervene in it, and we'll give practical steps of what we're going to do exactly. As I said, one of them is to try and bring and roll out smart meters that will help us to respond to a few issues around that. Second, we'll have to look at possibilities of bringing about solar panels and solar geysers within communities, especially the poor communities or township communities, as part and parcel of pushing back the crisis of energy. Thirdly is to increase power generation and procuring from power users so that we can respond to the challenges that we have. Now, I'm saying to you, and I'll repeat, that this is a challenge that requires even communities to participate and help us find solutions, because communities must also contribute in terms of usage of electricity themselves, so that at particular times you need to stop using your pool pumps.
Some bold promises there, but we understand he's been given a time frame, 6 months. If he doesn't deliver, a new mayor is coming.
Yeah, we've had about 5 mayors in 18 months already. You can just imagine the kind of chaos happening in the city of Johannesburg. And to be honest, there's still quite a lot of things that need to be done. Potholes in the city. Do you remember just a few months ago, we had an exclusive expose on eNCA which exposed how money was not being used to fix the roads in Johannesburg. So it's still a big problem, and hopefully he'll deliver. The energy crisis is something that's not only giving the city of Johannesburg a headache, it's a national crisis that needs to be attended to. So he's saying that they've got a plan. On the backbone of the plan, they believe that residents must also come to the fore and try and assist them. But it will be interesting to see how the next couple of months unfold.
No, it will most certainly be interesting. Thank you very much for that update. That's reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones.